the executive branch, the fake executive branch, the administrative state, has written all these rules by fiat. Most of them are illegal. Like they're actually unlawful. They're illegitimate. And so if you have an executive branch that says, okay, we're going to recognize that most of these regulations are illegitimate, there's your blueprint for then shaving down the size of the federal bureaucracy, which is then the permanent solution to stop that bureaucracy from perpetuating this kind of illegal rampant action. And I think that's the stuff of how you actually save a country, boring as that might sound.
It's not boring. And I think I've never heard in all the, my whole life in Washington, anybody suggest that this is a process that could really be stalled or reversed, the process being the growth of the federal government, which is just inexorable.
The deep state fears the DOGE. It's real, ladies and gentlemen. What am I talking about? What the heck is going on? Well, today, President Trump announced that Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk will be the heads of the Department of Governmental Efficiency, aka the DOGE, and we'll give you that story here today and explain what exactly this means. But first, do us a big favor. If you enjoy the content, make sure you hit that like button down below and you're subscribed to the channel. And why should you subscribe? Because it ensures we can keep bringing you these videos. We're trying to hit 400,000 subs by the Trump inauguration. Make sure you support us, hit that red button. And with that said, let's read here. This is the statement from President Trump on the DOGE. The DOGE is coming. Okay, the deep state bureaucrats, they've never been in greater fear of DOGE. Look at that. It's amazing. Okay, here's the statement. So, I am pleased to announce that the great Elon Musk, working in conjunction with Vivek Ramaswamy, will lead the Department of Government Efficiency, aka DOGE. Elon made the meme real. The people doubted. They said, no way that's going to happen. It's real. It's happening. Together, these wonderful Americans will pave the way for my administration to dismantle government bureaucracy, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, and restructure federal agencies essential to the Save America movement. This will send shockwaves through the system and anyone involved with government waste, which is a lot of people, stated Mr. Musk. Now, apparently, this is not going to be like an official cabinet that's appointed by the Senate or has to be voted in. This is basically going to be part of President Trump's personal staff that he can choose himself. But this is interesting down here. It also says, I look forward to Elon and Vivek making changes to the federal bureaucracy and an eye on efficiency, and at the same time, making life better for all Americans. Importantly, we will drive excess waste out of the government and fraud, which exists through our annual $6.5 trillion of government spending, which is way too much. They will work together to liberate our economy and make the U.S. government accountable to we the people. This is also notable. Their work will conclude no later than July 4th, 2026. So the hope by then is that within 2 years, we can clean it up and have a smaller federal government. But that 2026 date is also notable for two reasons. First of all, it allows Elon Musk and the America PAC to likely dedicate the bulk of their efforts to the 2026 midterms, number one. But number two, it also opens up the potential that Mike DeWine, the current governor of Ohio, will be termed out in 2026. So if Vivek is angling to make a run for that seat in the next midterms, he will be able to do that, and he'll be free, assuming that he is leaving the Trump administration. Now, this whole story seems to coincide with a recent Trump promise that he will be abolishing the Department of Education. Take a listen.
And one other thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and sending all education and education work and needs back to the states. We want them to run the education of our children because they'll do a much better job of it. You can't do worse. We spend more money per pupil by 3 times than any other nation, and yet we're absolutely at the bottom. We're one of the worst. So you can't do worse. We're going to end education coming out of Washington, D.C. We're going to close it up, all those buildings all over the place, and you have people that in many cases hate our children. We're going to send it all back to the states.
So there you have it. And look, I know a lot of conservatives are very excited and bullish about abolishing the Department of Education. And I agree on the substance, right? I mean, what do they do? Is there any proof that they help education, or would it just be better to send that money to the actual state so they can directly put the money into our schools? Totally get that. At the same time, I will say it's not like the biggest issue to me. You know, I'm not like, okay, well, I'm deciding between two Republicans in a primary and one wants to abolish the Department of Education. But at the same time, here's my bigger point. If this represents the greater attitude that the Trump administration combined with the DOGE is going to have on our federal government and our bureaucracy, then in this term, there is a serious chance that we really can drain the swamp, cut the fat out of our government. Firstly, that is wasteful, but also secondly, that we've seen be highly problematic and highly political. You know, the American government is supposed to have 3 branches of government, not 4, but you know that the bureaucracy has become the 4th and arguably most powerful branch of it all. And that is not self-government. That is not democracy, as they love to call it, even though we don't use that term as the right wing, but you know what I mean, right? So very good to see.
Because the purpose of the institution is to protect itself and expand. That's the
It's like a law of physics applied to this government.
Every institution exists to protect itself for its own benefit. That's its purpose. And it's demonstrable in its behavior. So, it's so obvious. It's so overwhelming. It's the largest institution in human history. I've never heard anybody say, you know, we have a shot of like lopping off 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. Like
80%. Yeah.
That would change everything.
On a similar note here today, it was reported that RFK Jr. is getting what he wants, right? The Trump transition team is in full cooperation with his plans to reform some of the health agencies and that end of the bureaucracy. Apparently, one of his big things is he wants to put an end to the revolving door between government and industry. And what does that mean? Well, as you may be familiar with, you know, it's funny, the Democrats always talk about corporate taxes and how, we keep, you know, the big corporations. Really, the truth is that our corporate America problem has very little to do with the actual tax rate, right? The reason why corporations in America are extremely corrupt and it feels like they have monopolies and they push out the little guy, the employee, the small business, is largely because they have so much lobbying power over the government. They just get what they want, right? Whether it's benefits, subsidies, patents, all of those things. So if we can put an end to that and basically keep the government out of the free market, that's another big potential angle to which you can clean up a lot of the broken systems in this country, not to mention the health. It looks like, we'll see how much we can actually get done. But the Trump team and Donald Trump himself personally is serious at the moment about draining that swamp, about really doing something about our bureaucratic agencies this time around. Last thing, though, on the Department of Governmental Efficiency, look, it should absolutely be a top priority in the second Trump term to actually get fiscally conservative, right? And this is not a Trump problem. This is a Republican problem in general. And by the way, Trump never really made the biggest deal out of fixing the national debt, but it should still be a priority, right? Which is the Democrats rightly refer to Republicans as hypocrites very often because they claim to care so much about the national debt and, you know, reducing the deficit and balancing the budget. And then every time they're in office, they spend just as much, if not more, than the Democrats and put us even deeper into that hole. So I would say another way Trump can cement his legacy is, especially in these first 2 years where you have a trifecta across our government, is to, at the very least, if you cannot achieve a surplus, just stop running up the debt. Right? Because a big reason you want to talk about inflation and everyone complains about it. Trump says he's going to fix it. Well, the big way you need to do that is stop printing so much money, right? There are other reasons, energy costs, you know, the wars, all this stuff, COVID in general. But a big reason inflation has remained is because we printed so many trillions of dollars during the pandemic. It's now coming back to bite us. You got to stop this, right? It's long-term going to be a really good thing for the American people if we can try to do something about the debt crisis. Like I said, no Republican ever in the history of ever since Calvin Coolidge has really been serious about doing that. And that was back in the 1920s. But you can get this if you manage to get it done with the DOGE, with these other things. Going to be a good 4 years and a very good legacy you're leaving behind. So with that said, guys, there is the story on Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, and the DOGE. Okay, the DOGE. We love the name. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and until next time, God bless and peace.